Oh, what do we have here? Yeah. Woohoo. Oh, yeah. Love that section. Hey guys, welcome back to Biking Roots. Welcome back to Texas. Thank you for all your support, those that are new to the channel, and also I appreciate all your comments. I try to answer all of them, so if you have any comments or questions, leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer them. A couple videos ago, I talked about the Hyper Hydroform, which was a Walmart bike that I upgraded some parts on to try to keep it still affordable, full suspension, and it turned out pretty good. And many of you may like to do that and want to upgrade and work on your bike, but there's also a lot of you out there that I know don't want to hassle with that and just want to get a bike that's ready to go, but don't necessarily want to break the bank either. If you're just getting into mountain biking and you're looking at what you can afford and components, you may find yourself wanting to get a nicer hardtail that has a 1x drivetrain, that has a decent front shock like the Judy or the Recon, but you're getting into the $1,250, $1,300 range depending on the model. So then you ask yourself, should I just get a full suspension for a few hundred more dollars like the Hawk Hill or the Rift Zone? These bikes are very similar in price actually. Well, when I say that, they're actually the same price. They're both $1,600. You can find them on sale for $1,500. That's what we have these listed at, which gives you a lot of bang for your buck. Some bicycle manufacturers, they will use the same full suspension frame for 27.5 wheels and for 29-inch wheels. Let me know in the comments what you think on that. I kind of go into more of Marin's camp. Obviously I sell them, but just having ridden them where it's just a different riding experience when you're on a 27.5 bike versus a 29-inch bike. If you ride a 29-inch bike that has been designed for it, as you can see, the wheelbase, this here is stretched out. That gives you a better handling experience than trying to cram 29-inch wheels up closer together. There are some differences, and we get the question asked a lot, like if you want to go full suspension, well, should I do 27.5 or 29? And I know that's a big debate in the mountain biking community. I'm going to run down some of the specs on the Rift Zone and the Hawk Hill, and then I'll show some video footage on some of the rides that I've gone on, and then wrap it up with giving you kind of my summary on these bikes. Your reach is going to be longer on the Rift Zone versus the Hawk Hill. What that means and feel is that you're going to feel more stretched out on this bike, so potentially you could go on a smaller size frame and it doesn't feel as small. When you get on a Hawk Hill, if you're a bigger guy, you're going to feel like it's going to feel small to you. I've been on the medium and the large, and I'm only 5'8", but the large feels definitely different than a large Rift Zone. You just feel smaller on the Hawk Hill because of the wheelbase, because of the shorter reach. Also talking about the frame really quick, they both have routing for a dropper post if you want to add one. I added one on this Rift Zone 1 just for fun, but you can do it on the Hawk Hill as well. It's very easy. It's actually easier on the Hawk Hill because it has easier entry points. Another difference between the two is the head tube angle. On the Hawk Hill, you're at about a 66.5 degree head tube angle versus the Rift Zone, which for 2020 is a little more slack, 65.5. All right, up front, they basically have the same shock. It's the RockShox Recon RL, 130 millimeters of travel on the Rift Zone. Also, both of these have tapered head tubes, and they both have boost through axles, 110 millimeters. So easy to upgrade to a nicer shock, should you choose to do so down the road. You don't need to right now, but if later you feel like your skills need it and you want to shed some weight, get a little bit nicer shock, you definitely can. So 130 millimeters on both of these. They both use the X-Fusion 02 Pro rear shock, 125 millimeters on the Rift Zone, and you have 120 on the Hawk Hill, so basically the same travel. Up front, same width bars, 780 millimeters, 780 on here. Brake-wise, the Rift Zone and the Hawk Hill, they both use the Shimano MT201s. In the front, you have 180 millimeter rotors on both of these, and then you're gonna have 160 in the back. Shimano builds a pretty good brake from my experience, so I've been happy with them. All right, moving to the drivetrain. On the Hawk Hill, you have a 32 tooth chainring up front, and you have a 1146 rear cassette with the Dior shifter. This is a 10-speed. The Rift Zone is also 1146, but you have 11 speed, so you get one extra gear. All right, now to talk about how these bikes are out on the trail. This is the Hawk Hill here over at our local Cypress Creek Trail here in Houston. And I have the most experience on the Hawk Hill. I've been riding it for about 8 months now. We got them in before the Rift Zones, and so I've had a lot of opportunity to take it out. It is a fun bike. Being a 27.5, as many others have said, it definitely feels a lot more playful. It's not the lightest bike in the world compared to some of the bikes that I've ridden recently, but it is a lot of fun. Even with its price tag, I think the Hawk Hill definitely is more capable than my riding style and my abilities. I've seen some of our customers do some pretty incredible things with this bike, and they've all commented that they just have a lot of fun with it. My wife has been on hers for a little while as well, and she really loves the bike. A little while back, I was able to take the Hawk Hill to Spider Mountain, which is a bike park northwest of Austin, Texas. And it was a lot of fun out there. It was mainly a family trip, but I went out on my own for a couple runs. And yeah, the brakes showed their limits after a few runs, but other than that, it was definitely a bike that is capable on the easier runs at the bike park.
Yeah. They have a looser.
We also had a Hawk Hill 3 version that I was able to ride a few times here. We are at Rocky Hill Ranch, which is a fun trail west of Houston. And this one has a upgraded fork and suspension and brakes, and so it's definitely a lot different, and there's a price premium above the Hawk Hill 1. But I still was able to get a feel for the bike and how fun it is out on the trails. I let my brother-in-law ride it for a little while, and he actually did not care for it, only because it felt small to him. He's a lot taller than I am, and he was on a large Alpine Trail 29er, and when he got on the Hawk Hill, he said it just felt small to him, which brings me to my next point, which is if you're a taller rider, most of them tend to like the 29ers more than the Hawk Hill 27.5. And that's, like I mentioned earlier in the video, it just has a different reach. So ride both of them, see which one feels better to you. All right, now to talk about the Rift Zone. This is the Rift Zone 2 that we had in the shop. As I mentioned earlier, I have more experience on the Hawk Hills because we didn't get our 2020 Rift Zones until kind of later in the season. And so I was able to have this one in our shop and rode it a number of times. It was a lot of fun. The tires, as I mentioned in this video, the tires definitely on the, at least on the version, on the Rift Zone 2, are very, very sticky and slow. I changed out the tires, and that improved the riding a lot. And so if you do have a Rift Zone, the Rift Zone 1's tires are fine. It's just the 2s have very, very sticky rubber. One of the things you'll notice when you ride the Rift Zone is it is fast. It's an aggressive trail bike.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Marin did a good job, I think, with the design and being able to incorporate all the modern geometry and all the features for $1,500. I think the Rift Zone is going to be a great bike for them, and I look forward to riding it a lot more. Like I said, I haven't been able to get as many miles on the Rift Zone as the Hawk Hill, but especially if you're a taller person, I think you definitely need to go ride it and see how you feel on it. Alright, so which bike would I choose, Rift Zone over the Hawk Hill? I think for shorter people like me, I probably lean more towards the Hawk Hill, and if you're a tall guy, go get the Rift Zone. Alright guys, well that's going to end today's video. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you did, hit that like button. If you have a comment or question, leave it below. I'd be happy to answer your questions if I can. And if you aren't subscribed, consider subscribing, and we'll have more content coming soon. Thanks for watching. Have fun out there on the trails, and see you on the next video. Bye.
Oh, God. Short turn. Whoa. A little loose turn, too. Turn. There we go. Off the berm. There we go. There we go.
Problem. I don't go on the board.
You don't get on the bird?
Yeah.
Woo! Do the bird!
Whoa.
Woo!
Hi. Hi, suckers. I don't go that fast.
Woohoo!
that way. Dad, don't go that way.